Everybody knows Airbnb, widely acknowledged as a disruptor of the travel and lodging industry. Airbnb says it has big plans for Asia, as it goes beyond just giving travelers a roof over their head and branches into giving them experiences. We talked to country manager for Southeast Asia, Hong Kong and Taiwan, Kwok, about what Asian travelers can expect from Airbnb in the coming months, regulation issues, and exactly how important the Malaysian market is to them. Airbnb is such a big thing all over the world. How does it view Malaysia as like a market? Because the stats have shown that the first 3 months of 2017, the revenue from Airbnb is already equal or half that of what already happened, what they registered last year. So what are your prospects and what do you see for like Malaysian market this year for Airbnb?
Yeah, so that we're actually in a really exciting part of the world. Asia is our fastest growing inbound region for Airbnb, but specifically the Southeast Asia region is a very fast growing and exciting place to be. And within Southeast Asia, Malaysia plays such an important role in this part of the region, because what we are seeing is that there's huge growth in both inbound and outbound travel. So just in the past year alone, for inbound travelers, that's those who are coming to Malaysia to experience the local cities here, I mean, that has grown just about 250%, which is huge. If we look at the outbound, that those are Malaysians who are traveling outbound to other countries or to other cities within Malaysia, that's also growing very fast. And in the past year alone, it's been about 170%. So again, huge. And what's exciting about Malaysia as a market, for Airbnb especially, is that Malaysian hospitality is so amazing, and hospitality is so intrinsic to the culture itself. And that's a big part of the Airbnb mission, is to help others experience local hospitality, local culture, and really feel like they can belong anywhere in any neighborhood.
Airbnb has had issues, run-ins with like regulators and everything, and of course there's that whole issue of taxes, because, and the funny thing is, it varies from city to city, from country to country. So how does Airbnb deal with it when one state says, we are going to tax you for this, we're not going to tax you for this? So how does, I mean, what does your standard practice book even look like?
Airbnb is really prioritizes working with each government on the local level to ensure that we do the right thing, where it preserves the local culture, the local environment, and we're complying with what the government needs and wants. We also look at what the local governments prioritize and what their objectives are. So we really take it case by case. But you mentioned earlier about how do we scale and how do we cover so many different governments? Well, we've done a lot of learning and researching in our many interactions with local governments. And in fact, we have something called a policy tool chest, which has many different best practices from governments around the world. In fact, we've collected over 200 best practices from these governments, where different governments have different needs. So for instance, some may be interested in learning about how we conduct tax payments or how we register our hosts because they want to keep track of them. We definitely work with each government to come out with the right type of regulatory framework that meets their local community's needs.
Malaysia wants to impose something called a tourism tax on all the hotels. And I don't know if Airbnb, because currently the policy is still a bit grey, so I don't know if Airbnb sort of like falls in it, but if that happens, I mean, how do you absorb something like a tourism tax? Do you show them this policy tool chest? Do you rejig your pricing? I mean, how do you react to something like that?
I mentioned earlier that Airbnb as a platform is built on trust and transparency. It's the same when we engage with governments. We really believe in partnering and being able to work with governments on educating and building awareness around what Airbnb is and how we can help. So for instance, right now we're seeing a lot around sharing out the tourism economic benefits throughout different countries. And some governments will actually ask us for that data and to understand how Airbnb is bringing those economic impacts to the different neighborhoods of the different country. So we do engage in those conversations, and we're very open in partnering.
As a company in general, as Airbnb, how do you the question of like how do you grow your market is very interesting, because if you are a hotelier, it's very easy. They say they add more rooms, they're building more hotels and everything. So how does Airbnb sort of grow its presence in Asia when you don't control, as it happens, like the space that's given?
Airbnb is really about providing unique accommodations to help people experience the different neighborhoods, the different parts of the country, the different cultures. And we grow by really building out a people-powered platform, one that's built on trust, transparency, and community. And every community is different, so we really want to onboard the right types of homes that come on board and showcase the local flavor or the local style, maybe a personal story from that host who owns that home, and really building out that type of experience. On top of that, we just launched something called Trips. And Trips really is an end-to-end travel opportunity that really makes travel more magical and a lot easier for our guests. And one component of Trips are experiences. Experiences are handcrafted activities, whether it be 1 to 2 hour workshops or multi-day immersions, where guests can actually travel in and learn from a local expert on a craft or a hobby or profession. And what we found is that by connecting those local experts with these guests who want to live like a local, we're really creating a magical experience.
When is it coming to Malaysia?
That's stay tuned. I think that's something that we're looking at. But one thing that we do say is that we have over 800 experiences across over 20-something cities right now. The goal is to have 50 by the end of this year. So that gives you sort of a hint at what we are doing in wanting to, continue providing these experiences to so many travelers around the world. Most recently, we launched in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and that's really exciting because you can experience an old, an old wet market style alley where they sell fruits and vegetables, or you can also go on a boat and explore like the local river and see how the local fishermen fish.
In terms of like revenue, I suppose Airbnb takes a cut from the exercise. Is that how it works?
Yes, we do take a cut from the experiences side, so take about 20%.
Okay.
And then on the home side, it varies with each market. But really, we are all about having the majority go back to the host. We really want to make sure that we can empower the host to generate that supplemental income. What we're seeing on the home side, for instance, 97% on average goes back to the host.